any kind of scientific story, if you put it across, it will be boring.
Yeah.
They have to build some kind of fun around that one.
The Chandrayaans 2 and 3 specifically.
I was part of the both the missions, fortunately. Many people have got an apprehension that we are using a joystick and controlling the spacecraft. It is not so. It is all purely autonomous. Inside the control room, when we saw that, yes, it has not achieved, there was damn pitch silence because somebody has to announce when Honorable Prime Minister of India was witnessing that event. And ultimately it has landed and confirmed the parameters. You cannot control these scientists. They have become kids. They were shouting.
At that moment, the control room
Yes.
goes crazy.
Crazy.
And outside the control room is a...
Basically a South India person from South India. Not South India. India is one. We were receiving Dr. APJ Kalam.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the STAR Show. My name is Sarita Mathur, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself before I tell you about the show and about our guest today. I am, if I may say so, a Delhi NCR person. Definitely not a bragging point, but it is how it is. School, college in Delhi, mathematics, operations research. Went on to join the corporate sector for about 6 years, marketing, market research. Next 6 years as a homemaker, the best years of my life, never regretted it. And thereafter, for almost the last 2.5 decades, pushing 3 decades, in the extremely exciting space of education. And no looking back. About the show, this is actually our very first launch. We hope to make it a huge success in terms of bringing you really exciting material. It is my pleasure for me to introduce to our viewers today our very first guest at the STAR Show, Mr. Sudheer Kumar. A little bit about himself, and with Mr. Kumar's permission, I'm going to read out because his accolades are huge and long. Mr. Kumar has served in Tata Steel in the Industrial Engineering Department from 1995 to the year 2000, accumulating experience in capital project evaluation, incentive bonus schemes, optimization techniques for productivity management. Subsequently, Sudhir ji transitioned from the space sector, joining the Satish Dhawan Space Center in the year 2000 under ISRO, part of the Department of Space, Government of India. Here, he contributed significantly to the realization of all kinds of infrastructure projects, and the list is really, really long, so I'm going to skip that for now. But it does include product and project manager for all ongoing ISRO launch vehicles. Mr. Kumar went on to assume the role of Director Capacity Building in Infrastructure Activities at ISRO, and then voluntarily retired over 5 years prior to superannuation to contribute to society actively in the space ecosystem within the country. Mr. Kumar, thank you so very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Namaskar. And before we start, I need to ask you, what should I call you?
Sudhir.
Sudhir, are you sure?
Yeah.
But you are so respected. Can I just add
Yes, okay.
Sudhir ji so I get a little more comfortable?
Please.
Okay. So Sudhir ji, you have had this absolutely incredible journey from Tata Steel to ISRO. A stable job with a company like Tata's is something anyone and everybody, young and old, would absolutely die for. It's like you ask someone, where did you go to college? Where did you read? Where did you study? And they say something like Oxford. And you say, oh, okay. Nothing more to be said. So similarly with the Tatas, when you know someone's with the Tatas and you ask them, where do you work? And they say Tatas, it's like, oh, nice. So my question to you, Sudhir ji, is what triggered the switch from steel to space?
Sorry. See, as a conservative family background, Tatas were very famous for family kind of take care of attitude for any young professionals. No doubt on that. Basically, a South India person from South India,
Correct.
not South India. India is one, and that too when young age, when you transform from a cultural, a conservative society, an orthodoxy family, to a corporate culture, definitely some kind of transformation would be there culture-wise. Tata's at that time, Janpurpur was one of the most cosmopolitan cultural city, I should say. The second thing is family background. I'm as I was telling you, from a conservative family, which you look for the children should be around them. Okay. Many factors were there. That second thing is government. At that time, 30 years, 25 years back, government job used to be a very lucrative job compared to the private. Because many of the such kind of private giants, even the Tatas were private giants. A government job, that too in a central government, that too near to my native place, definitely was an attractive offer. When I got, the family pressure also will be there. There's out that these are all the basic criteria. It's not that I was not comfortable with Tata's. I was very comfortable with Tata's culture, the salary package, the amount of responsibilities what I had. But other elements like family background, central government job, and space. At that time, space was not that much, what you call, more prominent like as it is today. These are all some of the things which driven me to opt for space.
Correct. Makes sense. Makes complete sense. Sudhirji, you grew up in Nellore as a young child, right? What kind of little boy were you? What were your interests when you were in school? Was it public speaking, drama, sports, stargazing? What was the little boy Sudhir like?
See, I grew up my father was a teacher. As a teacher, he has to move around the villages. Ultimately, even though the base camp is in Nellore, but I was grown more in the villages. When you see the village culture, the attachment to the family, to attachment to the some kind of environment, etc. At that time, probably I think settling in a government, making competition inside the schools, standing first. Incidentally, right from the school days, I was topper in the school environment. It is like what you call winning the teacher's heart is more important than anything else. See, we're all old timers, I should say. Already my hair is lost and gray. At that time, what happens is not much focus on the dreams of an individual student. More like standing top in the school, standing top in the region, and winning the hearts of the teachers is more important than career building, because we don't have that privileges as the current kids have got. Today, parents influence on the kids more than the child. He wants his kid to be a doctor, an engineer, a scientist, a astronomer. We never had that privileges. I should say, I'm frank with you. Our parents were more like leading the families, earning something for the family. Combined families used to be there. So that culture, I feel that was sweet culture. So I came from that kind of background where family value system is more predominant than individual dreams. Yes, that has led us for a formal education, very concentrated, focused, devoted education, which ultimately gives us some leverage for an employment.
Understood. But we did say that this is going to be a candid and honest interaction. So I need you to tell our viewers, hand on heart, did you ever do anything in school which was naughty or which, if I may say so, defied gravity?
Okay, I'm a very obedient student.
Okay.
I go more like studies are first important thing for me, because I told you that
Yes, you did.
I came from a teacher's family,
Your
and teacher's
mother is a
background.
teacher. Your wife is also
My
a teacher.
father is a teacher. Basically, when you are grown up in the teacher's family, you know how the culture would be, how the atmosphere would be. My father used to give tuitions to the students because he is a very devoted person. I used to compete with when I was in 7th. I used to compete with the 10th class students. When he was talking about the grammar, when he gives some kind of questions and to the 10th class students, I used to participate. And sometimes I never know that I am competing with my 3-year elderly people, but still I used to outbeat them.
तो कुछ naughty नहीं किया आपने, शैतानी नहीं की.
Shaitani, I was not. My brother was more like that.
Okay.
But I was like obedient.
Are
very
you saying
obedient.
this because you're scared your son is going to listen to this?
No, never,
Okay.
never,
okay.
never.
Okay, fine. I will take that and I will believe you. Moving on, Sudhir ji, at ISRO, you have been part of the team behind many monumental launches. And there's a lot of grunt work that goes on, but we, as lay citizens, what we really get excited about when we launch something, be it an INSAT, be it a Chandrayaan, be it a satellite, be it a Mangalam. You were part of all these teams, you did tell me. I want to know what it's like in the control room those few minutes before the launch when you're about to blast off. And what personality type are you? Are you one of those people who is, figuratively speaking, down on their knees saying a silent prayer? Or are you one of those guys who opens the doors and says, woohoo, yay guys, we're going to do this?
Yeah.
What's your personality?
See, if you see the actual environment when the launch is happening, maybe a couple of minutes before the launch, a grim silence would be there. Silence would be there. Okay, what you see in the cinemas are different. What you see actually inside the control room. I happen to be right from, I should say, from 2000 onwards. I was part and parcel of the main control center where the launches are going to be kicked off. Usually, the environment will be very grim because it demands for. Because you can't have such kind of privilege to shout or to, because it's chairman ISRO used to be there. See, all these center directors, which we call it as lab authorization, launch authorization board, all senior dignitaries used to sit in that control room, and VVIPs like Honorable President of India, Honorable Prime Minister of India used to sit in the same control rooms.
How many people approximately?
Now the current control room, which happened to be realized by I should not say by me, a group of the people, core people. I happen to be one among the core team. It accommodates around 250 to 300 people in the gallery, and in front of the consoles, maybe 70 to 80 people. So core scientists which will take care of different aspects. They sit in the control room, and there will be big displays which will be showing all the activities. And countdown will be going on. Several people across the globe, ground system network people, they'll get connected. They'll be telling Roger. They'll be, because there is used to be a big checklist. Each and every checklist they will confirm the completion of that particular milestone. And a program manager will be there who will note it and says Roger. And it is like that environment itself. You have to visualize. It is a very disciplined and grim environment, focusing only onto the launch of the vehicle. When they say 10, 9, 8, such kind of things, and our tensions and our PP will grow. But the thing is, we were very confident of the launch of vehicles because of a lot of hard work that went into mastering these technologies. We used to be usually very confident and looking for a successful launch. But of course, that uncertainty space is always a subject of highest reliability. That uncertainties will be there, but all of us used to look for a successful launch.
Sudhirji, I was going to ask you, what is the criteria for a person to get into the control room? However, I'm not going to ask you that. What I'm going to ask you is recruitment, because I do know at ISRO you were heading, besides capacity building for infrastructure, also personnel and HR and all of that kind of stuff. Is an ISRO employee, when you take him on, do you look for anything special or different in him that you probably would from what other organizations do? Like, would you ask him, for example, or her, name the planets from sun outwards? I'm just joking. Or why did Pluto have to leave the club? Do you ask them these type of questions, or what are the kind of questions you ask him, and what exactly are you looking for in that person?
Okay, this probably many of the public may have a doubt. See, it is a central government organization which has got a qualification criteria that he should be, whoever is entering. Most of the things would be at BTech level. But of course, we have streams like supervisory level and technician level also. IT qualified people will get into the technician category, diploma, such kind of people will get into the supervisory category, and bachelor's degree people will get into the engineers stream. And of course, we have some streams directly we go to the colleges for campus selection, and we have some streams special disciplines like safety, some managerial cadre where we conduct direct interviews and take them. We have PhD stream also. They can directly apply and they get into the system, because this is a same kind of any central government organization.
Yeah, sure.
But definitely the exam is the prime thing which will take you, take a kid to the employment into the scene.
But there will be an interview as well after that?
Yeah, interview will be there.
So
that carries less marks compared to the marks what he scores based on the exam. ICRB, what we call it as, is a central program. Definitely such questions will be asked by some guys.
The order of the planets?
Yeah, see, it is a very elementary question.
I know.
Which will be,
I was just trying to have some fun.
which will be asked. But definitely they will ask about what to do about the recent missions which is expected to explore. That is the EXPOSAT was there.
Yes.
Which is basically aimed for exploring the black holes.
Right.
But you know something about it. And some questions would definitely be there around deep space missions like Mangalyaan, Chandrayaan.
Yeah.
What is the awareness about those missions? Definitely such kind of questions would be there. But deep diving questions rather than the elementary questions.
Right, because I heard just a little while ago that some seeds have been germinated in anti-gravity space. So that's a big one.
See, these are all the experiments which we call it as microgravital experiments.
Yes.
For biotechnology, for agriculture growth. How these kind of germination, then the growth happens in the microgravity. How it is different from, let us say, if you are doing the same thing on the ground, on the earth, the temperature, the pressure, the environment is different. How the characterization, how the characteristics of such kind of determination will happen in microgravity. It's an experiment of consent. Whether some kind of unusual things are happening in the microgravity, how to create such kind of growth. Let us say, example I'll tell you. Let us say if it takes 5 days for something to grow on the earth. Will it grow within 5 hours or 5 minutes or 5 seconds? It's an experiment which derives lots of technology. See, if it's a cycle, is a cycle, when a germ is there, which will grow in a microgravity in a very, very fast rate. Let's say if you want to kill cancer cells, can you develop some medicine which will act, because if the treatment has to carry out for let us say 5 days, if you can develop some kind of rapid treatment, is it possible? So these are all the questions the scientific community will have. So such kind of experiments are possible in international space stations, where the scientists will go there and do that experiments and bring back such kind of experiment results for the societal benefits.
Yeah, that's really, really something. And I think that's what the STEM subjects are really oriented to, problem solving, mathematical thinking for the benefits of society, to mitigate situations like, the crisis that the world is facing, including climate change. I mean, we just heard about the crazy catastrophic fires in Los Angeles. So there's so much happening. And if we don't find ways to kind of stop it,
Yes.
the less said is actually better. So, Diji, you have worked with some of the best minds globally. In fact, Sudhirji, to our viewers, has just been through a series of meetings at the Manekshaw Bhavan, and after this chat, he's off again for another series of meetings. So you've interacted with a lot of people. Is there a collaboration or interaction with any international space agency that left a lasting impression on you at a personal level?
See, space is one which demands for wide discussions across the globe. It's not that the space technologies are confined to a country or to a region. When we seek, we have to keep in mind what is happening across the globe in advanced spacefaring nations. Whether we can adopt such kind of things to national level and to programmatic level. It is a very important input for any kind of conceiving new projects in the space. And we should do update ourselves on par with what is happening elsewhere in the world. That is one important input for space programs. Second thing is, if you conceive something if that is a project or a program, what kind of inputs that you derive out of the space community elsewhere. NASA is an amazing thing they're doing. Now SpaceX is doing much amazing things. What is happening in Japan, JAXA, what is happening in China, incidentally, because technology wise, there is nothing in space, there is nothing limits. There is nothing limits. Space is only the limit. We don't know where is the limit of space.
It's not the sky is the limit. It's not even like space is the limit.
And collaborations are very important episode in the space.
Correct.
We do discuss with national space agencies to conceive the programs on collaboration basis. Yeah. And of course, see, individual growth is organizational growth. Organizational growth is country's growth. Country's growth is global growth.
Absolutely.
One way or other is all interlinked, personal growth with the global growth.
Very well said, sir. Excellent. Just like the House of Tatas, ISRO is known, as you said, for its culture of humility and, of course, exploration, but also innovation. They must have been very satisfying, fulfilling places to work at. Do you have any funny or light-hearted moment or anecdote from your time at either of these two places that you would like to share?
Many, I should say.
Okay, let's start.
See, when we work, I'll tell a couple of incidents which it is worthy to mention. I was in Shar. We were receiving Dr. APJ Kalam, who's very famous for what you call students' fraternity, because it is a school and other things. I wish to narrate one small incident. I was standing in the reception of the guest house where Kalam sir was staying. Maybe night, I should say, maybe 10 o'clock or something like that. After dinner, he comes for a walk. And he was the person who stayed in Shar and implemented that SLV RAM. He still remembers such kind of stories, what he had in his mind. And I was just silently working. I was alone because as an engineers, we have responsibility to take care of the campaign also, launch campaign for that week. I was simply working on the reception desk, something. Then the door got opened. He was in front with a lot of people at the back. Who are you? Oh, you are an engineer. I used to pay my bills when I used to come to Shar. See, that is one-to-one interaction with such kind of people. I got shocked at first. Yes, Abdul Kalam was Honorable President of India. And he was talking about his narration. I used to come here and pay bills because he's scientist. When he's staying, he has to pay. He's a government.
Yeah.
Then next day, he was organizing interaction with the students. I was just standing beside him. Then he asked one question to the students. Out of enthusiasm, I answered.
Oh, okay.
He said, "No, you should not answer. I am asking these questions to the students, not you." It's such kind of funny interaction with the elderly people. Another this thing is Professor Ashpal. I always regard him as a very witty kind of person. We were sitting in the lounge. One of the senior police official was also sitting, because as a protocol, safety protocol, security protocol, they will be there. He asked me, "Hey, young man, come here. I want to wear that hat." See, police official, they are not supposed to give their hats.
Yeah.
And this guy is an old chap. He's a very kind of jovial person. He was telling, "Hey, I want that hat." I was in hesitation because they're all senior guys. Then that police officer offered his hat. He was wearing that hat. "I want the stick also."
Oh, God.
He was taken the fit. "Hey, young man, you take my photograph." See, such kind of senior people, when you interact, these are all very joyful, I think, the events which I can never remember. I can never forget in my... This is an opportunity a scientist has got. Incidentally, one more thing, I was traveling along with Professor Meenan, because we volunteered ourselves as escorts for the senior scientists when they come from outside. They narrate the stories. He was telling when Sarabhai expired, Madam Gandhi called me and he wanted me to assume the chairman ISRO position. Then I said, "No, I am not the guy. There is another guy, Dhawan, who is aerospace engineer, who is the fitter." See, the kind of accountability they have. When such kind of post was offered to an individual, he was volunteering himself that he is not the right guy. There is a guy who is more connected, because incidentally he was in DAE. He was such a kind of charismatic candidate was there who led these programs. We should remember such kind of people who are stalwarts who build this particular scientific society in India.
Have you seen the OTT program called Rocket Boys?
Rocket Boys, to be frank with you, I have not seen it, but I have seen the clippings, clippings of the Chandrayaan, the cinema, and the Rocket Boys. Because I deliberately avoided it, because it should be an amusement for the people. I should not take it as you should take it as an amusement or some kind of stories which they have. See, any kind of scientific story, if you put it across, it will be boring.
Yeah.
They have to build some kind of fun around that one.
Yeah.
Okay. So such kind of things, yes, it is more. If we see, then we started narrating. I wish I should not do that one.
Correct. And you might start comparing also, because it's not always very accurate.
Exactly.
Or
it's not accurate, but unless otherwise you make a story around it, it doesn't create interest.
Yeah.
The cinema have to generate such kind of interest among the people, which will drive the people towards the technology.
Sudhir, do you watch Hindi cinema?
Yeah.
Have you watched any of the kind of outer space films which are made in Bollywood, which have Akshay Kumar? Have you watched any of them?
Yeah. I told you that I didn't watch, but I have seen the clippings.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to make any specific comment on the films, because I told you already.
Yeah.
When you make some kind of fiction or some kind of scientific things into movies, a story, imagination, fun, and some kind of thing should be there attached to that.
Yeah, they have to make it exciting.
Course, or otherwise it will not be interesting.
Yeah, music, dance.
But when we scientists, when we watch those pictures and start giving our opinion, it may not be correct on our part to tell that this is fact or this is wrong. But a fun is fun, which creates the I should say that creates some kind of interest. Example, I'll tell you. I think I've seen a small clipping in the Facebook or in the media that one of the cine actor makes the dosa because which is not correct, which is not possible. Smoke detectors will be there if you make dosa in the control room.
Course,
Smoke detectors will activate and that gives false alarm. But the intent of that kind of narration is when a woman scientist, I know my own colleagues, they tells me for 12 to 14 days they have not even gone home. They used to keep their let us say dresses in the guest house because hardly they get 2 to 3 hours of time to change their take bath and take the such a kind of commitment scientists have got in ISRO, which are untold stories but which are facts. When we go to the control room, or when our scientists go to the control room, each and every subsystem has got some accountability that individual engineer has to take care. If they sit in front of the console, they may spend 24 hours, 48 hours without moving from the seat. Even if they move out, they have a passion, accountability. They will rush at the earliest moment after taking bath or after changing the dresses, after taking food. So this is the culture ISRO has got. It is not imposed onto them. It is self-imbibed. If I am accountable, such kind of untold many stories are there inside ISRO, where individual takes accountability and ownership for his own system
without talking about it,
without being told. Such kind of many stories are there inside ISRO, which require to be told for the students.
So you might just write a book.
Yes, for the students they should, because inside stories nobody knows what is happening when a campaign happens for 45 days. What kind of let us say things happen inside the control rooms, inside the stage assembly buildings, nobody knows. If an activity has to be completed within 12 hours, by any reason, if that is not completed, the scientists, that entire group of 100 people will be there inside the assembly room till that activity is completed and certified by quality person. Families will be waiting. Wife will be waiting when my husband will come. I'll serve him food. They'll sleep off. Midnight, 2 o'clock, we go home and knock the door. Then she tells, why, what happened? Why you are not called us? Because we don't have the mobile reachability inside the technical facilities. We cannot call the house also, we cannot tell. See, such kind of many stories, many thousands of engineers and scientists, not only in ISRO, I'm telling you, in DRDO, in DAE, scientific departments, these are all the builders of the nation. They are really contributing to the society. When a success happens, you do not know how many such kind of souls have sacrificed their personal needs and personal, let us say, requirements for the country. These are all the real stories.
So maybe one day you will actually write a book on it?
I wish to.
Yeah, that'd be great. And then we'll have you back on our show and we'll help you launch it.
Sure. With my pleasure.
No, but sir, what I was talking about the Rocket Boys is actually a documentary on OTT, and it talks about how the space program started in the early 1930s, 40s?
Yes.
And it talks about Homi Bhabha and Dr. Sarabhai. And obviously it's well researched and it's one of my personal favorites. So I would recommend it to everyone out there. If you
now I
haven't
can see it because
so it's not Bollywood. Huh?
Okay.
Of course, you will find many
That's
mistakes
okay.
despite all the hard research that's gone into it. But I think you like it. And I think actually all children should see films like that because it really, really tells you about the spirit of, that is what you call nationalism, the feeling for your country. And like you're saying, the great people who have worked so hard for the country, you can feel it in that. It's amazing.
Incidentally, 2019-20 happened to be the centenary year of Vikram Sarabhai. And I was fortunate to lead that nationwide program led by the various departments who are involved, who are associated with Vikram Sarabhai. It could be DAE, it could be TIFR, it was Department of Space, some community centers and different IISc, CV Raman Institute. When I was making a coffee table book on Vikram Sarabhai, it was, I proudly say that it was my individual contribution. I went around several institutes to gather the stories, to gather the photos. I happened to work on releasing a coffee table book on Vikram Sarabhai. Many untold stories came out. How was his commitment to to develop some kind of niche area where people never thought about mass communication. He believed in 1970s that India, out of its own huge population, how to reach the masses. It's a site experiment. They believed when India has come out of British, let us say, legacy and emerging, they are the people, Homi J. Baba, Sir C.V. Raman, then your S.S. Bhatnagar, then J.R.D. Tata, and Vikram Sarabhai. They were the people. These stories have to be told to our children, how they envisioned somebody talking about power generation in a non-conventional ways, nuclear power generation. At that time, he was asking for a lab. Then JRD came out and said that I'll find it. Why do you worry? Then TIFR was constituted for a fundamental research. Vikram Sarabhai started his space, how actually space can be utilized for the masses. It was a site experiment. We have heard the platforms of America ATS, and ultimately it was made public. These are all the stories instigate the people.
Sudhirji, are you spiritual? And if so, what is your God particle?
I'm very much spiritual, even though I am, like people characterize the scientist will never be spiritual. I don't believe that spirituality is the personal thing, but ultimately spirituality only gives you confidence. Whatever you have done. What is unknown, leave it to some kind of energy, which is universal energy, which we call it as God.
Correct.
Which we do not know ultimately what is will happen, which is not beyond your intelligence. Just only God.
Sudhirji, there are some things in India which just so unite the country in euphoria, jubilation, and ecstasy. So one is cricket, as you know. Bollywood is another one. For some of us, butter chicken. And lastly, but probably hugely, intensely exciting, are space launches. Any kind of space launch. And what I am having in my mind as I say this is the Chandrayaans 2 and 3 specifically. I want you to share with our audience anything, not necessarily the scientific background, but basically the huge success of these two missions.
Yeah. I was part of the both the missions, fortunately. Chandrayaan 2, I was there during the launch time in the Mission Control Center when the rocket is taking the Chandrayaan 2 to the orbit. But it is usually any type of launch, 1 in 100 or 1 in 70, what had been there, of course. But Chandrayaan 2 landing was very interesting as well as a very curious, let us say, event. We were there because as usual, maybe 100, 150, 200 scientists were there in the STTAR control room when Chandrayaan 2 landing was prepared. Of course, breaking of the thing in the lunar orbit, bringing down from 100 kilometers to 30 kilometers to 1 kilometer and 300 meters, something like that. Because usually many people have got an apprehension that we are using a joystick and controlling the spacecraft. It is not so. It is all purely autonomous. Preloaded programs will be there on the spacecraft. And we get the data and information only after the event has happened. What are the delay that is there to transmit?
How many seconds would that be?
Maybe a couple of milliseconds.
Okay.
Yeah, but it is post-mortem, I should say.
Yeah.
It is not that I'm going to get an information that, it is reaching, it is like a GPS, in another 2 minutes time vehicle is coming, it is another 2 seconds time vehicle is coming. It is not like that. It is all autonomous way of handling the spacecraft, and we get the telemetry data after the event has happened, whatever the delay, milliseconds or seconds delay is there. When it is coming down, it has got two kinds of thing. It has to horizontally break down the velocity, it has to vertically break down the velocity, and it has to come and land on a place where it was identified. Maybe a couple of seconds before that, that data was missing. Because could be two reasons were there. One is some kind of telemetry loss, because when these radars and data acquisition systems were not getting the data for any reason, that could be one reason. Another thing is something mission could not achieve its own results. These are all the two things. But we can come to know, because scientists are there, they have parallel redundancies to acquire the data. When something has happened inside the control room, when we saw that yes, it has not achieved, there was damn pitch silence, because somebody has to announce. When Honorable Prime Minister of India was witnessing that event, then of course, yes, Chairman ISRO announced that yes, mission could not achieve. Then disappointment, because that is the effort of thousands of people who are involved in teams, ultimately looking for a targeted achievement. It was damn silent. Then Honorable Prime Minister came out. He addressed the people. You should not lose your heart. You have done your job. It is a scientific thing. Because what is happening on moon, we do not know. We don't have any simulators to simulate. Whether atmosphere is there, or whether something gravity is there, what is tumbling, or it is going in a right direction, how it is, because it is a first attempt. It was the first attempt to, without understanding what that unknown thing is there, we were attempting it. But of course, Chandrayaan 2 has given a lot of lessons to ISRO, because we could capture the data, what it is actually. So with that attempt, when we have attempted the Chandrayaan 3 actually, Dr. Somnath used to tell, Chandrayaan 2 was designed for a success. Chandrayaan 3 was designed for a failure. Because at each and every moment of time, we assumed that this will fail. What could be a corrective action?
Oh, you were super ready for disappointment.
So Chandrayaan 3, no, it is not ready for disappointment. Chandrayaan 3 was designed for a failure. For a failure means how we will overcome whatever eventuality it happens, how to face that and correct it.
Oh, so the most pessimistic situation.
Yes, exactly.
You were ready for that.
Exactly.
Got it.
So that is the reason it is designed in a most foolproof way, seamless way, that whatever it happens, the mission will be successful.
Learning from your mistakes, basically.
Yes, exactly.
Being extra cautious.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When, see, there are two kinds of horizontal velocity and vertical velocity. We were all in the control room. It has come from 30 kilometers to 1 kilometer to 300 meters, because that mission was designed to take an impact load of 4 meters per second. Even if it drops, that is all failed. It has to be just dropped from 300 meters onto the surface of the moon. It will still sustain.
Okay.
So when it comes to, because there's hovering was there at 300 meters, it was 300 meters is not a small.
Yeah, it's quite a lot.
When it came to 100 meters, it was hovering. The velocity was noted in the console was 4 meters per second. At that time, we were damn sure nothing will happen. This mission will be successful. And ultimately, it has landed and confirmed the parameters. You cannot control the scientists. They have become kids. They were shouting.
At that moment, the control room goes crazy.
Crazy.
And outside the control room as well.
Because we were witnessing, because I could say that when we were inside the control room, we know a couple of seconds before that mission is going to be successful.
Yeah.
That kind of feeling,
Yeah.
Because the world, I know a couple of seconds before the world knows that is going to be successful. That feeling was entirely different. And we could not control ourselves. When we have seen the failure and that tension, that body, and we have seen the success, that is very jubilant moment, I should say. And the same case with the Mangalyaan also. When we have sighted, because it has traveled almost 60 crore kilometers behind the sun. First time it is appeared, and when our radars have captured that signal, we never expected. We don't know whether we can capture or not. It has traveled over months. These are all the scientific achievement, textbook launches, what we call it as.
Very, very interesting. I get goosebumps just listening to you. I'm sure everyone is feeling the same.
Yes.
Talking about goosebumps, Sudhirji, 3rd April 1984. Wing Commander Rakesh Sharma aboard Soyuz T-11, televised, and our then Prime Minister, Mrs. Gandhi, asking him this absolutely iconic question, कि ऊपर से आपको भारत कैसा दिखता है? And that, oh my God, I cannot describe his, for me at least, his heartwarming, pat on, hair on end answer, जी मैं बिना हिचक के कह सकता हूँ कि सारे जहां से अच्छा. It's too much. What were you doing at that moment, and how did you feel?
Okay, 1984, I was not into the space sector. I was also witnessing the same. I could, we don't have privilege to see on live that kind of thing, but we noted. But such kind of statements, when instinctively, when none other than Prime Minister of India asking a unique astronaut, that too when he was in a space, a question which was not expected.
Yeah.
Such kind of answer, Sare Jahan Se Acha, is, I think, an amazing thing which permanently recorded in the Indian space history, that Sare Jahan Se Acha, Bharat Sita Hamara. Such kind of words, I don't know how Rakesh Sharma ji got that answer to be told in a best befitting manner to the highest authority person in India.
Without even thinking for a split second.
That is talking from the heart.
Yeah, and from a patriotic poet, Muhammad Iqbal, and it was brilliant, a masterpiece.
Yes.
Yeah. You didn't know at that point that you're going to get into space.
Yes.
Okay. Before we move to the rapid fire round, have you ever met Shri Ratan Tata ji?
No, I should say no. I never, because we never had any chance, because I was a junior person when
you were at
But
Tata.
Usually junior people never had any interaction. But we used to have interaction with Jamshed Jairani, who's another lion, I should say, in the Tata family, I should say. I had couple of occasions to shook hands with him on award ceremonies, such kind of things. But Tata family, I should say, is a blessing for the Indian community, I should say, because we are fortunate to have Tatas with us not only in industrial development, in the care of the family care, the amount of care they spend for the Tata families. Only you have to get into their system and enjoy. Otherwise, it is not explainable.
I read somewhere also that part of the Tata HR policy is that for ladies who work in the Tata organization, their salary, their remuneration is calculated from the moment they leave their homes in their train or their cab or their taxi and reach their office. So those hours are also counted as part of their contribution to the organization. So that's how much.
Yes, it is worth mentioning, since you are told about the remuneration package. I was working on a team where Tata Steel was getting transformed to a productive organization. At that time, they have hired McKinsey's for optimizing the performance. Because traditionally, the organization started in 1901, initial, that 19 period, maybe 100 years, they would have passed at that time. And old mills were manpower driven, very old technology. If they have to be productive, you see something like that. No? If you wanted to save a doctor, if he wants to save his leg, he has to cut his finger. because you can't call it as he's cutting the patient's finger, but he's saving the leg, something like that. When modernization was happening, it was very important. I think many people would not know. They brought out one early separation scheme. They have given, because they have to close those mills to be more productive, because they brought CRM, HRM, then new bar and rod mills, such kind of things which are more automated for increasing the production productivity of the organization to bring the profitability. But old mills, rail mill, old MLSM, if I recollect those names, I still remember, they have to shut down. But obviously employees who are trained in those things have to take leave. They brought out a scheme where till their retirement they have compensated the salary, and they have given interest-free loans for them to start their own livelihood. Such a kind of system, I don't think in the world such kind of systems will be there. Separation schemes will be there. Let's say 5 years ahead of retirement, they have given the salary what they have taken in the last month. They have compensated as if he is continuing in the service for next 4, 5, 6 years. And they have given interest-free loans to start their own business or something, investment, so that they can happily live. Such a kind of organizations we have in India. That is called the pride of Indian industry.
Absolutely. Sudhirji, so that's why Tatas are called Tatas for no small reason, which brings us very close to the end of today's podcast. But typically, we will have what is known as a rapid fire question. Thinking of another name for rapid fire, so maybe in this case we can call it blast off. So the idea is that I will ask you a few questions. It's trivia, basically. You are meant to be honest and candid, and you're not supposed to take too much time in answering, just maybe milliseconds or nanoseconds. What is the best meal you've ever had at the ISRO cafeteria? And you cannot say idli, vada or sambar.
Canteens will have a traditional food, lecture food. I like pappu.
Oh, okay. Is pappu the same as paddu?
Dal.
Okay, great. The Sudheer Kumar engine fuel. What is your beverage of choice? Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
You can name another beverage if you want.
Coffee is my best
Filter?
choice. Filter coffee, yes.
We must get served filter coffee after this, right? Sir, if not engineering or space, what profession do you think you could see yourself in?
I like teaching most.
Senior higher education. Preferred genre of cinema, science fiction or romance?
Science fiction.
You can say romance if you want.
I was more into fiction, science, action.
I was
movies.
thinking if you say romance, I can get some more exciting questions put in there. However, it's about you. What's your de-stress regimen? Do you walk, exercise, do you play a sport, yoga, meditation? Kya karte hain aap?
I chant mantras.
Okay. Every day?
Yes.
Okay. And for what duration would that be?
It could be somewhere around 40 minutes to 1 hour.
Oh, lovely. So do you see the interlink there between you and the Brahmand,
Yes, exactly.
which is space,
Exactly.
infinite?
Exactly.
Okay, that's another whole topic, so we won't get into that right now. What's your favorite physical phenomena in the world?
Means?
Like, you know how you have electromagnetism or light, a phenomena.
Okay, I should say that it is more like waves, I should say.
All kinds
theory.
of waves, wave
Yes,
theory.
Yes.
Okay.
Energy, kind of receiving the energy. Like Reiki is there.
Yeah.
It's a cosmic energy. How do you take? It can be in terms of meditation or in terms of concentration. The waves are important, energy waves.
Which includes sound energy. and
Exactly.
Even light energy.
Exactly.
Very interesting. Next question is it fair to call NASA America's ISRO?
Yes, obviously.
Yeah. One thing you would never say or tell your son. You have one child, right?
Yes.
What is something you would never tell him?
don't, let us say, disappoint on failures.
The best advice you have ever received?
Don't have expectations.
If there was a thing or aspect of your life that you could do all over again, what would it be?
Role.
Pardon me?
You mean to say role?
Not role, anything in your life that, it could be some choices you made, it could be the way you behaved at a certain point of your life, something you, not really you regret, but you kind of think that, you know what, if I had a choice, I would do it that way.
See, a mentor is a right thing, because many people look for some kind of suggestions and true advices. And many people I have seen, I personally never had privilege. I think I wanted to be a mentor. To what extent I'll do justice, I don't know, but I wish to be a mentor, to give anything what I have back to the society, so that somebody can take my shoulder to lift, to go up.
Thank you very much, Sudhirji. That actually brings us to the end of not only the rapid fire round, but of this venture maiden podcast of ours. And I, on behalf of the entire STAR team of the STAR Show, would really, really like to thank you for giving us your time. It's been
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
We really, really appreciate it. And like you said, you spoke about mentorship. We do hope for our viewers, you can take with you nuggets and ideas, virtues, snippets, tidbits with you to make your own, and maybe as you move along in life, mentor people around you. So Sudhirji, once again, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आपका आने के लिए.
Thank you.
और
Thank you.
इतना ज्ञान देने का और इतना asides share करने के लिए. It was definitely a pleasure.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. I also thank the team. Whatever the kind of things I have narrated is all my personal things. I never took anything, but I'm privileged. I should say that one of the privileged soldiers to get an opportunity to show whatever the talent I have.
Nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
So, dear viewers and listeners, that actually brings us to the end of today's podcast, our very first at the STAR Show. We hope you liked it. We hope you will be able to take with you little nuggets of, as I said, information, virtues, traits, values, things to think about till we meet you next. We do want you to hit those 3 buttons though. Like, subscribe, and share. And as I said, most importantly, the sharing, we want this to be two-way. Your feedback, what you liked about it, what you want to hear next, and anything else related to the STAR Show. So we're going to see you very soon. You will get notifications from us on what's up next. So stay tuned. See you again very soon. This is Sarita signing off for the STAR Show. Till next time. Bye.